Today is a Friday. So we're chilling. We're chilling today. I also have one, two, three, four, five. I have another one, but it's someplace else. Uh, Air pressure gauges. This is the best one because it has two sizes, and it's like one's for like a bike, the other one's for like a car. I was going through my bag that had like all of my because I used to help out at a car shop for a little bit. I didn't do a lot of fancy stuff. Don't go like hyping me up too much. I wasn't too crazy. But the work that I did do was basic detailing and stuff. And he was like, when we get a new car in the shop, just make sure that nothing like really has to be done. And then before it leaves, just double check everything, make sure it's ready to go, because they just wanted it to be nice because it was like a vintage kind of car shop. So I just kind of kept accidentally taking these home. I haven't been there in like 6 years. But now I got a lot of them. It's so bad. And I have like these really nice scissors that you can't run through the dishwasher or anything, so yeah, they're Fiskars from Finland. See, I don't think they're like super expensive or anything, but they're kind of nice. So I'm a little happy that I have them. I'm just like, yay, scissors, scissors, scissors. Oh no, today is just going to be a free day. If you guys come and hang out with me, that's cool. I don't know if we're going to talk too much about the news because my brain is melted. I am tired. I don't really have a ton of stuff to talk about. I mean, I did listen to everything that's happening, but with the government shutdown, it's kind of like, oh, guess we chill. And that's like, that's fun, I guess. Sometimes I wish it was like more exciting. But then I'm like, I'm actually okay with being boring. Being boring can be a good thing. It's cute. I just look at like random stuff. Oh, look at her go! She's moving the thing. I have to replace it eventually so they can have better ones, but we shall see. I don't even know what to say. It's kind of weird when George isn't here because I'm just like, damn, what's he up to? What's the going on? I don't even know. I'm also a little bit nervous today because I have an exam later and I hope I do okay. So that's also why I'm just like, I don't really have a lot that I've prepped for in the past couple days because I've been studying. It's my midterms. My midterms. I've been doing a lot of random work and stuff too. So it's like, well, hopefully I can get all this done so that by the time everything's all ready to go, aka I take my exam tonight and I meet with my classmates for like a project, I'll be all good. I have a bag that I was like fixing up, Whatever I'm studying, I have to take breaks and like clean something or just do random stuff so I don't get too stressed out. And then today, I don't know, I've just been really nervous. Oh, I really hope I do well on my exam. I really do. Because if I don't, yay, Like, my world won't end, but I will be really frustrated. What can we talk about? You guys always take a minute to show up, but if you guys do show up, because I know you guys have, like, your own lives and stuff. Man, I'm so boring. I've been really boring today. I think the press conference today was kind of goofy. I mean, everything's just been about the government shutdown, honestly. And I respect it. Like, I understand The government is shut down. Stuff is really shitty, you know, like blah blah blah. But I'll be okay. And I think a lot of us will be okay too. Let's see what the update is. I know the flotilla still has like one ship, maybe? Yeah. Uh, Plans to end the government shutdown failed in the Senate for the fourth time. And in the presser today, Levitt, Miss Caroline Levitt, was saying that things are just going to start shutting down. So that'll be interesting. That ever happened like before, so we'll see. Like I said before, I just think it's excuses, honestly. It's kind of weird. I don't think we have a ton of updates with what's going on in Europe right now. I know a lot of you guys are probably busy there too, because it's a Friday night. So if you are busy, have fun. If not, that's also okay. And I do also have to leave like a little bit earlier today too. Should be okay. I cry. What else has happened? I don't know. I've been doing more research on like just random stuff, listening to trying to find like some good video essays, because I figured out that here on stream things do a little bit better if we have like a visual aid and there's someone else who's kind of explaining certain things, because they can dive into different ideas than I can, which is really fun. React stuff. Ugh. I used to hate that so much. I was like, I'll never do any React content. Which I honestly, to be fair, I don't think I do a lot of React content, but it's kind of what it is. Andrew was teasing me about it a while ago, and I was like, God damn it. So I took a pause with it, but I don't know. I've also kind of stopped oversharing as much online about my life, and it's really weird because I have lots of things like, not a ton, but I have some stuff happening behind the scenes that I'm keeping more private. So then I come here and I'm like, well, what can I talk about? And then I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I talk about nothing. That's okay, I guess. That's fine. And we'll see how it is. I don't know. I'm really excited for tomorrow. I am going to stream earlier tomorrow. We're going to play some more Hollow Knight. I want to play a lot more Hollow Knight. But then I have a thing to do in the evening, which is super annoying, and I have stuff to do earlier in the day too. But it's not as big as last weekend. Last weekend was like busy as fuck. I also have been thinking about doing like random life things on stream too. Like not going out and doing stuff, just doing like my day-to-day stuff. Normally I keep that really private because I don't know how to share that with people. It feels awkward. And if I do anything, it's usually on like TikTok or whatever, like a different platform. Because I just feel so exposed and naked when I show you my life. I don't know. It's like, you really need to know my routine and what I do. That feels like oversharing in some aspects. But I don't know. I think I need to not get over it, but like be okay sharing certain things that I enjoy. I can express myself online, do the thing. Eh. Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I'm ready for like the next thing to start happening, you know? Like I know a lot can change in a year, so I just have to keep doing the thing. As I get older, I've been having a lot of existential crises about time, though. That's been a fucking thing. I just sit here and I'm just like, damn, time is like finite. So many people like, I don't know, when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't really care about like any of that stuff. As I've gotten older, I care a bit more, which is kind of weird. And not like care as in like have like a ton of emotional attachment, because I think that can be toxic in some aspects, but it's more of like a sentience thing. I'm just like, damn, I'm only going to be sentient for so long. And then I just sit there and I'm like, whoa. That's kind of wild. Anyways, then I just have like a existential crisis, so then I distract myself with stupid things. Yep. I don't know. It's kind of goofy, and I'm just like, what is happening? I also feel like I look really young sometimes. And I wonder if I'm just gonna keep looking young as I get older. Because that'll be really weird. Because when I was, like I said before, when I was younger, people thought I looked older. Well, I guess they still thought I looked pretty young too. But, like, depending on the person. And then as I've gotten older, I feel like I haven't aged with a lot of my peers. Maybe it's because I don't know why it is actually. Maybe it's probably just like a genetics thing or whatever. Round face syndrome or whatever the fuck. And I've thought about like getting like plastic surgery or whatever to kind of like make a change and see if I like that. But I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that either. And we'll have to wait and see. I just feel kind of boring all the time now. Like, I don't know. I guess if no one's here, I can give like a little life update thing, which I haven't done in a while. But my mental health has been like good. Like the sad things are sad sometimes or whatever, but like I get like hormonal during my period or whatever, which is normal. Um, I don't know. I don't really get like mood swings like a lot of other people do though. I don't know. When I was younger, I was like convinced I was gonna go like crazy or whatever. But then I realized that it was because I wasn't feeling like heard in things, so I'd go like a little like nanners. Not like nanners as in like I'd go crazy and like hurt anybody or be aggressive or whatever, anything like that. But as I've gotten older, I've been more okay with people not understanding me. And I don't really react to things as much anymore because I don't really have the desire to. Like my body's just like, oh, well, okay. That's disappointing. No, that's kind of nice, you know? And I'm kind of low key a little bit proud of that. It's not something I'd expect within myself. Like, if you told me that, like, 20, God, I'm so old, but like when I was really young, like elementary schoolish, I'd be really surprised. But it's been a really long, ongoing journey to be more cool with that. And that's just kind of weird in some aspects. Because I'm like, damn, is this the maturity? Is this the brain developing? Is this what people talk about? They're just like, the brain is done doing its thing. I don't know. I just feel like old in a good way. I hope I age well. Not turn into like a crabby person or like a person bitter with the world. I used to think a lot of older people were super bitter with the world, honestly, and then I realized that they're kind of like a product of their experiences. So some people, they'd go through a lot, and they'd have like a lot of like false hope in people and stuff. And then that was kind of like really disappointing to be around. I don't know. It's just so like everything just feels so much more chill now. I'm rambling because I'm just nervous about later. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'm only stressed. I did listen to parts of the new Taylor Swift album, and I feel kind of bad. Like, I think a lot of her audience is starting to recognize that she is a oh, how do I put it? She is in fact a billionaire princess kind of thing. It makes me feel bad for her because I'm like, dang, you good? your life good, hun? Hope it is, but once people get to that level, it can be hard to be relatable to the public. And I think that's kind of happened to her. And we're in a stage where people don't necessarily idolize that as much too. They're not like, oh, that's the ideal. The ideal is to be like that, like she's just like us or whatever. Some people are like that. I feel like if you're upper middle class or beyond, you still might still like it, but I don't know. I think it's falling a lot like pretty flat with certain audiences, and that's interesting. I don't know. I wonder what that's like for her, because she's probably been super calculated with most of her content that she's produced with people. She's known for that. Like that's kind of crazy, you know? That it's not doing as well. But that's what people always say about like new releases for the most part. They're not always like, "Oh, this is like an immediate banger or whatever." It usually takes time. And the people that are really, really invested in the lore and stuff, they'll probably really like it. I was doom scrolling a lot today. Well, not a ton. I was like listening to stuff. I've been trying to distract myself because I'm really nervous about my test. And then what I do to distract myself sometimes is doom scroll, or I just like overwork myself, and I'm trying not to do that anymore. So, one vice for another. How disappointing. Oh, I'm also putting some stuff on my nails. I'm kind of excited. I'm excited to be able to do my nails again after I'm done doing outdoor things as much, more plant stuff. Look, I'm thinking about repotting more stuff tonight or tomorrow. I think that will be good too. It's been so long since I just get to sit here and talk. It's been like, I think at least months. Almost like, I think a couple months, you know? And it's kind of relaxing. Like I just get a ramble. I get a ramble. Hmm. It's been kind of weird. Not like in a bad way. It's been good weird. How much has changed since I was doing stuff last year? Because last year, at this time, every single week I was redoing my set. And that was a lot of effort, just so you guys know. I put a lot of time and effort into that. And every set, like, told a story or whatever. And now looking back, I really wish I took photos of each one. Like, I started doing it and I was like, eh. And I wish I did. It was so cute. And it's like, even this set's evolving and stuff. Like, I'm adding more stuff to it. I'm enjoying it more, I'm doing all that, and it just feels so weird just to get it all done. And I'm like, damn. I don't know. And I feel like I've changed a lot too, which is really nice. I feel more comfortable like doing things online again, or more comfortable being visible and seen, which isn't something that I felt like I could do beforehand. Type 2! Oh, hi. I'm glad you're here. I've been rambling. How are you doing? How is you? I'm just rambling because I'm nervous about later tonight. You had pizza. Hey, okay. Okay, okay. I hope it was good. Oh man, I wish I could make pizza tonight. What type of pizza? It was good, thank you. What kind? How am I? I'm good. I'm good. I'm really nervous. I have a exam later today. I think I'll do okay. Happy Friday. I know. I love Fridays. Friday. I hope it's good. It's a good day. Oh. How was your Friday been? I'm lotioning up my hands. Oh, hi, Bixby. Hello, princess. All the cats have been so needy today, just so you know. Earlier today, I had all three cats like practically on me, with the dogs right next to me. They've been hovering so much. It's been crazy. Right, Bixby? Yes. Oh, and now they're all sleeping near me too. Sandy's in the doorway. Ollie's like in the little hallway, I guess. And then I don't know what else to call it. And then I think who else is in here? I think Andrew's taking a nap or something. So Siri's with him. And let's see. My is hiding because we've been having to give him medication and it makes him drowsy. Oh nope, Siri's done snuggling. I just saw him. I'm really nervous about like the winter. The winter is gonna be so cold. How depressed will I get? How sad will things be? I don't even know. Oh, look at it go! I love her. I was going for a walk earlier today, and I got to see one of the neighbor cats that I haven't seen in so long. Their personality is almost exactly like Bixby's, but really friendly. It's taken me a while to bond with them. Right? Right, little Bix? And then Bixby gets so mad every time I come back smelling like that cat. Like, she won't really snuggle me until I, take a shower. It doesn't matter if I wash my hands or not. Leave the dirt alone. No, leave it alone. Can you leave it be? I think you should leave that be. Yes, I do. You come up here. You wanna? Oh, I know. I know. Wanna come say hi? Come here. Come here. See, I don't smell like that other cat anymore. You could come up and you'll be fine. She's so mad at me still. I know. It's okay, baby. It's okay if I smell like the shop cat at like one of the places that I work at sometimes. But no, I can't smell like the neighborhood cats because then she feels betrayed. She's walking away. She's still mad at me. Why she does this. Oh, it's so funny. Oh my god, girl, come back. No, baby. I cry. Oh. Anyways, that's kind of all I have going on. It's really just chill. Oh god, dude. It's a lot. It's so much. So much. Oh, other updates. I've still been working on Arabic. I've been getting a little bit more comfortable with it, and I'm ready. I can't translate yet or anything like that, which is probably good because I'm still a beginner, and it'd be kind of crazy if I could do that. That'd be like insane. But I don't know. I think I'm making slow and steady progress, which is really nice. I'm very motivated to keep going. I've just been talking about like life type 2. Just so you know, I don't know if you're still here, but that's kind of on days where it's kind of slow, I just give life updates sometimes. It makes me feel kind of like awkward because I'm like, oh, this is alive, you know? Then he'd argue. Actually, don't know all the words to that song, honestly. Then he'd argue. We could play some Hollow Knight. I've been thinking about it. I've really been thinking about it. I really could. If we're just chilling today and there's not a lot happening. I don't know. It sounds good. Updates are always welcome. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't share as much about my life anymore. The work and everything that I do. I also don't think it's that entertaining or that exciting. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I've been having there's this thing that I saw online where people were like, oh, the best thing to compare yourself to isn't other people, but who you were a year ago. And that can be really motivating or really disheartening. Like something that stabs you in the chest and twists it like it hurts. And for me, I hope it's like a more positive thing. I don't want it to feel like everything's just like falling apart all the time, which is nice. It doesn't feel like that as much anymore. But it is October and canon events always happen. Every single month, there's one canon event that happens for everybody. Whether your favorite food doesn't get made anymore by a company, or a key part of your routine is gone or something like that. I don't know. You're always shifting. So I'm really nervous slash excited to see what happens. I hope that I can keep streaming. I'm trying to keep going, Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. I also put my kufi here, which I hope it's not tacky looking. My cats keep eating it when I put it anywhere else, and if I hang it in my closet, it keeps sliding because it's a silky material. So it doesn't stay on my hanger super well because I'll fold it like how you're supposed to, but then it just slides down. It just keeps falling. I don't know why. I think I need felted hangers, which is expensive. That's cool. I was just noticing it. Yeah! It was back here. Oh, there's Siri. But this dude kept trying to mess with it because it has these little what these little tassels on it, which are really nice. And I don't know. I think it looks cool. I've had it for a bit. I just didn't really have it as part of my set. It was just away. And then now, yeah. Oh yeah, they do. And I don't want them to ruin it because I actually like it. It's a good bag. You can fold it into a bag or wear it a little bit. So I just put it back here because I was like, oh, it matches the color scheme. And then, yeah, and then he just keeps trying to claw at it. So I had to tie it to my chair. And now he leaves it be. This is the only place where he hasn't messed with it. So I'm just like, well, okay, I guess. Haha. And if I hang it, I have a tree thing where it's really old, but it's oh, he's so cute. Oh, there he is. He's so adorable. Oh. Anyways, yeah, but every time I try to hang it up, it just kind of slides down. So it's just, this is what I do with it. I've given up. Look how cute he is. Ah, Sandy's jealous now too. Maybe, should I play Hollow Knight? I don't know. Are you down for Hollow Knight Type 2? Just game a bit extra. I'm having a hard time focusing on anything because of my meeting and my exam. So I feel bad. I feel like I won't even game super well either. I'm just nervous. What do you do when you're nervous? Just been I don't want to fail my class. I don't think I will. But oh my gosh, I crammed everything into one day. My exam and my big meeting with my classmates to do our big project together, that's going to be tonight too. So I have to do that project and then I have my exam scheduled after that. Which, I mean, granted, it's okay because I'm doing it from home. And it's mostly about cultural stuff, cultural things because it's an interpreter class. So I'm like, okay, like I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I get most of this because I'm kind of working semi in the field. So it's like, I'm adjacent. That's like the word for it. I've been working adjacent with it for a bit. So I'm like, well, it's not too bad. Only mildly stressful though. I was learning today about how like there's phases to learning about cultures and becoming integrated into cultures and stuff. And there's like a scientific theory for it. And that's been really cool. It was like a distraction. I don't know. There's a lot of people where this might be so weird to talk about, but it got me thinking a lot about how certain demographics of people are taught that they don't really have a lot of culture. So here in America, especially like if you're white or white passing or whatever, but it's usually if you're white, you're taught that you don't really have a culture. And people who are taught that growing up, they kind of put their identity, or they can be more inclined to put their identity towards random stuff, like a disorder that they may have, or just something that sets them apart from other people. Sometimes it's like a trauma related thing too, where they're like, oh, this happened to me, and that's like a huge part of their identity rather than like anything more cultural, because they can just be like blind to it. And here in the States, people view culture to be like, how do I put it? It's like something that you bring with you from other places, you know? And there's a lot of like cultural diversity here, because we have tons of immigrants. And when you're around people who have a lot of different cultures, or you have more exposure to that, I don't know. I don't know. I've just been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. And I think there is culture. It's just I worry about people who like can't see that. If you're surrounded by it all the time, then you are less likely to notice it. Or at least people are just taught to be ashamed of it. And that's kind of weird. Especially I don't know. I've been thinking about it. It's just part of my class, so I have to do like an essay on cultural stuff, like, and how people integrate their cultures and stuff like that. I guess there's an ad, so I should probably wait. Messing with my PSI thing. Should probably clean them. I just have so freaking many. Actually ridiculous. This one's really cool because it like clamps too. All of them though, except for one of them technically does that. And this one I think broke. So it's just a hole now. Cute, 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 cute. So technically I think I have four, which isn't too bad. It just makes me feel mildly guilty sometimes. But yeah, that's not what my exam's about though. My exam's in my other stuff. I just have a project. It's so weird. I hate writing essays. It makes me feel like it makes me think about things too much sometimes, which is probably good. Like the thought experiments are really good. That's like what the class is about, and that's how learning is. But I don't know. I hope that people find other things outside of like what's wrong with them to be part of their identity. Because I understand how it can be part of your identity. Like someone who is like I would say someone who has like a physical disability, they're probably going to be around more disabled people, and then there's going to be like a microculture related to it. And same with like some mental illnesses or whatever. But with certain things like addiction or trauma or like, sometimes when people have, because I can only really talk about the things that I struggle with or whatever. I've never had anything like bipolar or something that's like super chronic or whatever, that just kind of like stays with you. And I can't really understand that sort of like identity thing or whatever. But sometimes people will, I feel like they kind of lose themselves to it, you know? Like it becomes such a big part of their life that they kind of lose a source of identity with other things too. And culture is a big part of that. So in some cultures, they don't really focus on mental health problems. They just kind of view people to be like that in some way, shape, or form. So, like, if someone is not doing super great mentally or whatever, they, instead of someone being like, oh, like, it's not super normal to be like 1 second yelling at someone and the other second being like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you to bits or whatever. They'll just be like, oh, they're just like that. Like, that's just a part of who they are. Or someone that, like, just takes things too far. Or, like, someone who has, like, super depressive episodes where they don't really interact with anybody at all. They just kind of isolate themselves. Which that can be, they can be really hard on someone because they don't really understand what's going on with them. So they just kind of struggle with the issues that they're having. And I feel really bad about it. I'm just like, dang, that's actually really rough. I'm actually gonna change. Well, I should change my stream title. Maybe I could just leave it as is. I don't know. I'll probably just leave it if anyone stumbles into it. But I've been really thinking about that a lot, and that's something that's very sensitive for people. If they don't necessarily want to, like, they just view it as something as like who they are, and not something that they can work with or work to change. Hmm. Like for me, oh my goodness, I need some like num noms. I'm like too nervous to like eat a lot of food. When I was younger, I really identified with like my trauma that I went through. Not like in a way where I'd go around telling people like, oh, I have like PTSD or whatever, like I can't do anything, but and I wouldn't introduce myself with like my ADHD diagnosis or my PTSD diagnosis. I would kind of leave it be, you know? But I know a lot of people who do. And I wonder if that's like what if they want to have a balance between having that as part of their identity and having other things as part of it too. But I also understand that when you first have something happen, it's all consuming. Like for me, if I have a really traumatic experience, I'm going to be hyper focused on it for a bit until I can start moving forward. Like the grieving process takes like 6 months or whatever. And that's really hard for people to navigate. I don't know. I've just been thinking about that a lot. So I'm like, dang, this is rough. And I want people to feel like they have an identity. And Taylor Swift is really popular, right? Especially with like white, kind of like everyday women. And people kind of take microculture stuff and they really emphasize it and they become almost not obsessed, because that's not the right word, but they become so ingrained into it that it becomes a really big part of their personality. And then they kind of create these microcultures, which is really cool. I don't know. I think a culture is just a lot of people with like a shared experience or like a shared perspective, right? So, what is and isn't appropriate isn't really for me to decide and for me to dictate. So, I never really know. Hmm. I just view like, hmm, I personally have always viewed culture to be like a very fluid thing, though. But other people, there's like this rigidity with it, where they get involved in a culture or a microculture, and then they don't really stray outside of it whatsoever. They just kind of stay in it. So a really good example of that could be like religious stuff, where people just like they find their thing, and then they stay in a microculture or like a community for the rest of their life. Like they'll be there for 60, 70 years. Hmm. And that's not saying that people are always part of one culture. They're usually part of many different microcultures. Sometimes people immerse themselves fully into one and completely reject anything else that's going on around them. And they get really, really, really into it. And I'm like, that's okay. Like some people are like that, and that's their whole life. Like nuns, or monks, or people who are like that's just more religious focus. But you have people who are in like social groups, negative or positive. Like an example would be like this is fucking wild, but like horrible groups like hmm, I don't know, like white supremacists or people as like it's like or MAGA, that's like a good example. Sometimes cult groups, sometimes they're political, sometimes they're more social based, but people just get so ingrained into it and then they just forget what it's like to be outside of it, and then they lose the ability to interact with the cultures that they left. And then they're more inclined to stay there. You see this sort of tactics with things like the military, and going through like basic and stuff like that, where you're isolated from people for an extended period of time. You are forced to learn about a whole different microculture of American society, which the military is. And then you learn your own lingo, you learn all this stuff. And then once you're done with it and you did like your 4 years or whatever, it's hard for you to reassimilate back into society because it's like you've almost forgotten what it's like to be a civilian. And that's when you get a lot of like people who just stay there, like they never leave. And it's just like part of their life because they don't know what else to do anymore. And you can see that with people with trauma and that sort of thing or whatever. But you don't even have to see like a lot of traumatic stuff in order to have that effect. It's just what happens when you're not exposed to stuff for a certain amount of time. So I feel like the best thing to do is to have a mixture of lots of different things. But then that makes you an outsider because people will, this is what happens to me a lot. People, I don't know if this is like oversharing. I don't think it is. But people can sometimes think I'm two-faced because I'm part of like so many different groups and so many different things. But it's not necessarily because I want to identify with all those things, identify with aspects of them. But when I'm in certain environments, I allow myself to, like, I don't go to, like, when I'm teaching or whatever, or if I'm around, like, a lot of Muslim people, I don't just sit there and talk about, like, gaming and, like, you know, or more conservative Muslim people, or, like, a lot of, uh, political stuff or whatever. Not because I can't have those conversations with them, but because the group and the activities that we're sharing aren't really about that. Like I'm teaching them a thing and it's like a different aspect of stuff and how you address things in the different cultures that everyone, or at least the micro community or culture that we're establishing, is different than how I would address it like in the artsy stuff I do, or like in the athletic side of things that I do. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I should just be like myself and I should, you know, like wherever I go, just have like this one blanket thing. But that's not necessarily helpful for you or the other people around you because it can be seen as disrespectful or distasteful because you're both supposed to meet like halfway, you know, especially if you're one on one. But if you're not one on one and you're interacting with lots of people, you can just like test the waters and figure out how you can approach certain things because it's going to be different. It's like a social literacy, I guess. But if you think that everyone has to do stuff the same way you do, and you're very like, my my perspective and like my culture is the only way of going about it, then you're gonna really struggle. Like, let me find the word for that. Let's see. It's called ethnocentrism. The attitude that one's own culture or ethnic group is inherently superior. Also, the tendency to define other ethnic groups or cultures according to the terms of one's own ethnic group or culture. Which, I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot. And I think when you put yourself in situations when you're not like, where you're outside of your own culture, it's really like you're forced to accept that other people can behave differently and act differently and you don't have to be like that. And I first learned that when I left the church because when I was indoctrinated into the church and stuff, I really struggled to have like friends or community or whatever with people that were outside of it because I viewed everything from inside the church to the outside. So like, and then when I left and I was like, oh, like, because I went to public school instead of private school, like the rest of the church pretty much did in pastors' kids. And because of that, I would have to code switch. I'd have to act a certain way at church, to act a certain way at home. And then when I hung out with a lot of my friends who were immigrants, I would act differently in their homes too. Like, I wouldn't necessarily, you know, treat my friends like Filipino mom, how I would treat, like, my teacher at school. Like you treat people differently depending on their culture and what they need and stuff like that in the environment. I don't know. And I just really struggle with people who are like, oh, if you aren't part of like I don't know, like secular versus non-secular, you know, like people who are religious and holy versus not religious and holy. That was like a big thing in the church. And I was treated poorly because I interacted with people who aren't religious. And they couldn't view the people or the cultures as their own separate thing and try to understand it immersively. It was always a compare and contrast thing to what they believe in the culture, the religious culture, what it should be. It was really hard to interact with. And I really, really struggled. But I've talked about all that before. It's not like super exciting or super interesting, but it's just kind of like how it is, you know? And I know eventually it'll get better and things will be a little bit different and that sort of thing. And more people will be, with the internet and everything, people are so much more exposed to other cultures outside of their own. But I still get concerned because I worry that people get so comfortable with their own microcultures and communities. They stay in their own bubble, and they don't have the ability to leave it. And they get so stuck that they start viewing the in-group versus out-group, like incels in some aspects. I don't know. And I've understood that you'll never be like a key pillar in someone's community or like a key part of a community if you can't be a participant in that assimilation. It's almost like part of the process. Like, if you want to be like religious, Christian religion is like a great example. If you're going to be like a pastor or something, you're going to have to be so into that. Like, you're going to have to be part of the comparison of the outside world to the inside world. And it becomes who you are because it's just what you do all the time. Like, it's your job. And you're probably going to have more friends there and slowly isolate yourself from the external community. Probably not every church is like that, obviously, but in a lot of them it is. And it's but if you're just a patron that's going like every weekend or whatever, or just once a month or something, you're still going to have some sense of community, but you're not going to be like super as like acknowledged in the community, you know? Because when people think of you, they're going to think of like you doing all this stuff, but if you're always in it and you're always participating in it, then they're going to view, like when they think of you, they think of that community, you know? And you probably do too, or maybe you don't, but not like you, but like, you know, the person that is being referenced. I've been thinking about that a lot too. Because like the price of community, people say, is inconvenience, but that's not true. The cost of community is having a multicultural identity. And you'll be considered more and more of an outsider the more you stray away from what that in-group thinks as a whole. I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot. And this class that I'm in really has helped me understand that, like, you do have to code switch in certain aspects, but the fact, like, if you're part of multiple like cultures and stuff, because I do want to mention, I think it's pretty fucking obvious. I'm a white girl. Like, I'm pretty fucking, like, you see me and you're like, that bitch looks Northern European. And I'm just like, yo. That's pretty accurate. But when I sit here and I think about how I interact with people who have different identities and stuff, and a lot of my friends are mixed, where they have like parents from two separate backgrounds. Like maybe their dad is black and their mom is Asian or like something like that, right? And I hear this all the time, especially with some of my immigrant students. That's another example. It's not just like color. It can also be like a immigration thing where you come from one location or one place and then you immigrate to a new culture. And if you go back home after a couple years, you will be changed. You're not going to be like, you will be considered an outsider for a while, like at least 5, 6 years, something like that. Doesn't matter how much you try to integrate, people will view you as an outsider because you were gone for so long. And you're going to have to relearn how a lot of that cultural stuff goes. Now, if you bounce back and forth over and over again, or you're still in contact with a lot of people from where you left and that sort of thing, you can maintain some of that culture. But I've been teaching for a while now, and I've been noticing that a lot of my refugee students and immigrant students are slowly starting to assimilate into American culture. Like when they first come to the States, they're wearing a lot of their traditional clothes, and then slowly but surely they're starting to find groups of people to hang out with, and then they're shedding a lot of their old culture. But sometimes I'll get a new student because I do like, we all kind of interact like together, and there's lots of community building that happens, right? And I'm not a huge part of that community because I just teach, but I get to observe a lot of it. Sometimes we'll get a new person that was from the same country, like let's say Sudan, right? And they'll see the different people as they go through um, the different lessons and stuff. And sometimes they'll be judgmental and they'll be like, oh, I'll never be like that. I'll never do that. And then it has to be like someone who is that in between person who still holds on to some of the traditions of back home, but has to teach them of like, hey, it's okay to like do things a little differently. Like you can find a new or an altered form of identity here. And it doesn't mean that you're abandoning yourself there too. But then some of the people who've been there for a long time, which I haven't taught them through like the whole process, I just help with the beginning stages. So I get to deal with those people who are really fresh, who are a little bit like uncomfortable with a lot of Western things, like especially like things like showing their hair or being around people who aren't as modest, or sometimes even being around lots of men and stuff. So I primarily teach women because of it, and then, that sort of thing. There's lots of different layers to it, but you have to be really sensitive to it because for a lot of people, Western culture has been so demonized that they come in and they feel like everything is bad. And it's a little weird to like wrap your head around. But over time, they become kind of fluent, or not really fluent, but they can code switch between the different cultures. So if they talk to, like, I'll hear them start talking on their phones in like Arabic to like their family members or whatever, or Sudanese or whatever language they're speaking, right? And they'll code switch. They'll become a lot more proper and they'll change it up. But that usually happens over time. They start being like, hey, like, this is how I speak to people here in America. This is how I speak to people back home. But you can't try to, like, act the same way when you're interacting with both cultures. And that's really interesting to me. Because there's certain people who are like, oh, I go to this country and everybody hates me there. I just don't fit in. Like, I have a really hard time. And it's because they're not willing to compromise their old culture to get to know the new one and shed who they used to be to become part of that culture. Because there are certain things that you can't take with you. Like, you just can't. Like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's like an English saying. Um, and it's true. Like, you can learn so many beneficial things in different cultures, especially, you don't even have to leave the country to do that. But if you immerse yourself in different cultures, you just learn a lot more. But try, and you can bring some things back and forth, but there's stages to it. And it's really, really interesting. But the people who can't do that tend to be more judgmental. They'll be like, oh, you're two-faced because you act like this around these people and you act like this around these people. And it's like, no, you're still yourself. But you're trying to be appropriate for the settings that you're in. And that's really interesting because in American culture, there's this really big focus on being yourself no matter where you go, and then like not compromising anything about yourself for anybody. And that's something I've never really understood. It's not like I would talk to an elderly person and start using slang like Riz or like whatever the heck, or like I don't even know. Just like I just wouldn't use that slang with them. I'd be more proper and I would try to talk to them in the way that they can understand. And I wouldn't expect them to understand everything I say because I know I'm going to slip and there's going to be certain things that like they don't understand that I say. So why don't I try to meet them where they're at, you know? And be part of that tone. And then as you establish more of a person-to-person relationship, that's when you can kind of like mix it all together and show them more aspects of yourself because it's not as much like they can actually process it better. And it's like that with every culture. But the one-on-one relationships or the small group relationships are the ones where you can be more yourself. I don't know. It's something I've been studying for a while, and being like this, you know, teaching and being part of like this interpreter stuff or whatever has really helped me learn how to navigate that a lot more. I have an essay I'm writing about this, which is why it's so heavily on my mind. But yeah, it just I don't know. That's why sometimes like when I talk about different cultures here or my experiences with different cultures or people from different cultures, sometimes not all of you guys, I don't know who's all gonna watch this, but there's a lot of people who will come in here and they'll just be instantly like, oh, well, as an American, we learned about this, and they can't accept that like different cultures can function differently, and that just because there's some negative aspects doesn't mean that everything is horrible. And that the people are multifaceted and the culture is going to be multifaceted, and accepting that there is like going to be flaws in other cultures as well as benefits can help you evaluate your own culture that you're a part of and see and find more of a sense of identity with where you're currently at. And I think that could solve a lot of problems that's going on here in America, especially with like fucking insulated white people who are taught that they don't have a culture, because there is a culture here, and yes, it has a lot of negative roots and it can be really like horrific when you learn the history, but there is beautiful aspects to our culture, like food and like some sports and athletics and that sort of thing, and hobbies like hiking and all that sort of thing that are considered very like white or Eurocentric or whatever. Like just because it's part of that identity doesn't mean it's bad. And you can be a part of the culture and community in so many different aspects without it being a bad thing. I don't know. It just makes me sad. Because I see a lot of people and they're just like, I also do want to mention that I've always found like a lot of interest in participating in different cultures, and I grew up in a lot of different households. Like I was a foster kid. So I had to learn how to code switch depending on the household I was in, a lot. And I just because like my dad had couldn't really have me and my mom couldn't really have me, so I could like go place to place a lot, and lots of external factors. It's not like you know, whatever. I'm not going to dive into that because it's too personal. But because of that, I feel like I've never felt like, oh, there's like an inside group and then there's an outside group, because I was exposed to so much different stuff and so many different cultures. Like, I remember um, when I was really young, I'm not going to give too much stuff away, but like just for some context, like when I was in foster care, I was with a black family for a long time. Not like a super long time, but it was like a couple months, and that was the longest house that I was in. And it really taught me a lot about different culture and how to interact with people who are like different than me. Because I went back home like after that because some custody stuff was figured out. And when I went back to live with my dad, it was really wild because my dad was really racist and he couldn't understand how he was racist. And then I had to like, I had to kind of just like hide away everything that I learned with the other people I was staying with and other families that I was with, because he wasn't willing to accept any of that, or accept that like any of that could be true. And then it kind of prevents you from falling for like as much indoctrination into viewing a certain demographic as super negative, because you're forced to like see, like you already experienced it and you got to see it, and then hearing someone just talk and say basically lies about a culture, you're not going to fall for it as much. You're not just going to be like, oh, that's definitely like how it fucking is or whatever, because it's not. Because you know that it's not, because you got to see it. But people who have never had that exposure, they would never be able to understand that. And I think that's like, I don't know. I can't, like, a thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around. This is me brainstorming because I'm so nervous for my exam later. And I still have, like, other stuff I have to do. But something that I've been really trying to wrap my head around is, like, is it something where, how do I put it? How do I say this in, like, a nice way? Is it something that people choose to do? Like, it's a choice to be like that? Or is it something that, it's just inevitable? Like, you get comfortable with a group or something, and then you don't really branch out anymore, and you don't really accept other communities and stuff like that. You just kind of go like, oh, this is, you know, what it is or whatever. And then you just take that as fact. And I don't know. And I think the more multicultural you become, whether that be just like at home, you know, or like in your home city, talking to people from different places online, talking to people from different places in your community and stuff, the more immersion you have with other cultures, even microcultures, uh, I feel like that kind of sets you apart more. So if you want community, it doesn't always require sacrifice, because you do make sacrifice, but like I'm not talking about like, oh, sacrificing your comfort or whatever and doing things when you don't want to. That's a whole different discussion. If you want community, you have to sacrifice the ability to be part of multiple communities. Like if you want to be a pillar in a community, you have to make that sacrifice. And as I've gotten older, or at least my entire life, I've never been able to do that, which is, oh, it's been comforting. I feel like this is something I can share, but it's something that I feel a lot more comfort in, because I really struggled to like feel like I was part of anything, because I was never like considered like a pillar of something, you know? Like I've always done so much stuff in so many different communities and whatever. And I'm also not afraid to be part of other communities or do things like in a primarily like Arab space or Black space or even like Asian space or Hispanic space. Like I don't feel uncomfortable being like, I do sometimes because I feel awkward. I feel like I'm taking someone else's spot sometimes. But being in a space where you can help out people who aren't really part of your community is, I honestly think, is better than anything, because you're like, you can show people that, hey, like, not every person of this demographic is going to be bad and against you. And also, you can show other people who identify more with you that, hey, you can participate in things too. And it's not like a weird thing. I don't know. It's community stuff is weird. And, I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot. Like a lot. And I think it also shows in my stream with like how diverse everybody is here. We got Brazilians, we got Europeans from everywhere in Europe. We have North Africans, we have Arabs, and we have some Asians who come on if I stream really early. You know, like y'all will come out around that time. And it like cycles through in different phases. And I haven't really seen a lot of other streamers who have a community that's like that. Maybe a lot of people do, and I just don't know it. But I don't know. It's like it's hard for me to pigeonhole myself into like one thing. And it's something I see other like content creators do. Ollie, it's okay. Come here. I know you're outside. You're okay, Bubby. Anyways, I do have to go soon. But I kind of wanted to discuss more like cultural stuff. I thought it would be beneficial because I don't know. I think it's something I've been thinking about a lot too. Because more and more so, I'm getting in spaces where I'm like, I'll be like the only person of my demographic there, and it'll be not really awkward, but it'll just be like I think other people find more awkwardness in it than me, and then I get self-conscious about like, am I really supposed to be here? Am I allowed to do this thing? But then the people who are like actually a part of it are excited to have me there. So I'm just like, does it matter that much? Should it, like, isn't diversity something to be like more proud of? Obviously, I'm not gonna like take a place when there's specific things that are celebrating stuff that I'm not a part of. Like, I'll help promote it and that sort of thing, and I'll be like, hey, everyone should do this stuff, but I'm not gonna be like center or try to be like anywhere close to like center stage with any of it. Even if offered, I'd probably say no because you know. But being a supportive person, I think that anybody can do that. And yeah, I think a lot of people here in the States, there's this like very big focus on cultural appropriation, where people getting involved in other cultures and helping out with cultures is seen as a huge negative thing. And I get that with like wearing threads and stuff as like a white person. One, it's not meant for your hair, it's gonna fuck your hair up, and like other stuff like that too. But you can also be like a supporting actor in someone else's like for lack of better terms like it's just a supporting actor in someone else's like movie or like life plot line, you know, like you don't have to be the main character all the time. And I think people forget that. I think people and sometimes like I've had criticism from people in that like I don't know, like in my workplace. One of the jobs I have, I was telling them about how I do certain things with immigrants and I help out with like, you know, the black community sometimes, and I'm involved in like spaces where I'm very much like the only white person there. And then they'll talk down on me about it and they'll be like, why are you doing that? You're like taking their space, you're doing all that stuff. But then I also don't act as like a primary figure there. Like I'm just a supporting role in those environments. And trying to explain that to them, they view it to be like a cultural like appropriation thing when it's really not, you know? And I think here in America, people doing that so much has caused a division that means that we're not allowed to have more of a unifying culture because of it. Because people are so afraid to prop up and help other cultures because of the fear of looking like someone who's in a space that they shouldn't be or being outcasted by their current community. Like, how can you have like a unifying culture if you're not allowed to stray away from if you're not allowed to code switch sometimes, you know, or help out other cultures? I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot because Yeah, I also want to mention, or at least another highlighting factor, is when you do interact with more cultures, it's going to touch you and you're going to slightly change. Like your core personality is going to shift a little bit as you interact with other cultures because you're going to learn more about yourself, what you like, and what other people enjoy as well. You know, it's going to be like it can be okay. And I don't know. I've seen um I've seen a lot of people have a lot of criticism about that. And I know that's like controversial. Like I'm just like a white girl talking about this. But I don't know. I think it's okay to be slightly changed by other people's cultures and it's not appropriation. Like I don't know. And I think America has a really big problem with that. And I think it's why we have a lot of the issues that we do. Because if you're discouraged from interacting with more people, how are you going to have understanding of other people's cultures and learn how to accommodate or learn about other people's needs? It's crazy. Messaging a group chat. Yeah, we're gonna have to go soon. I will have to leave. I have my meeting with everybody in a couple minutes, but it's not gonna start for a little bit. So I don't know. I've just been thinking about this a lot because I do get flack from coming here on Twitch and like trying to learn Arabic and stuff like that, and then people and I can get nervous about talking about it here or even like speaking Arabic here because in my personal life I've had people that are like, "Oh, you're just trying to be like cultural appropriation by learning a language that I literally work with students who speak that language and are part of that culture." And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just becoming more confident in like maybe I just shouldn't be around people who just can't accept that. But then on one hand, I'm like, oh, well, maybe maybe it's like an opportunity for me to help them understand that it's not really like about that. I don't know. It's been really weird. But yeah, it's kind of funky. But I know if I like leave the country and stuff like that more, it'll get better. It's just being in Nebraska makes it really hard because there's a big like, oh, let's play football. Let's do like all this white like Midwesterner shit, and then like especially in my area, it's very segregated. So it's like you guys probably aren't super familiar with Omaha, but like North Omaha is like black, Central Omaha is more mixed, like Arab, and then Southern Omaha is Spanish, and then Western Omaha is like white slash, and the further out west you get, the richer it is. You have some richer neighborhoods in Central Omaha too, but yeah, it's it's something that can be really hard to navigate because sorry, I just got a notification. I'm gonna have to leave soon. But it's like how how do you like bridge how do you participate in community when you're not super rich to live in like West Omaha or whatever, or like super West Omaha? I'm not gonna dox where I live or whatever. But obviously that kind of leaves me living in a community with a lot of people who aren't like me. So it's really weird. It's really weird. But if you're downtown and stuff like that, obviously it's more like multicultural and stuff like that. But outside of downtown and kind of like central Omaha, you have like, everything's very segregated. And I know a lot of other cities just aren't like that to the extent that Omaha is with our population. And Omaha is lots of smaller cities, like mixed together too, which a lot of other cities are also not like that. But yeah, I think here, especially, there's a huge emphasis on it because, like, if you're not rich enough to live in those, like, primarily white places, you're not going to be as accepted by that community, and then you're already considered like an outcast. Because I'll tell people like where I live, and I'm not going to dox where I live or anything like that and be like, this is the community I'm around all the time. Because it's more of a melting pot kind of ish, like depending on where you're at. But I don't know. But I'm just saying the overall demographic, like it's just. And you also, I learned that by working a lot of elections and stuff. And I'll be like, oh, I live in this district. And they'll be like, oh, you live there? Like, don't you have like a lot of XYZ neighbors or whatever? And then you have to like explain, like, that's not very great. Shouldn't be acting like that. It's just really weird. It's weird. I bet it's like that kind of a little bit everywhere. But in the Midwest, I think it's a little bit harder too. The more you learn. Like, I don't know. Especially, I'm not gonna like overshare too much about the stuff I do, but I've talked a lot about so many different aspects of it, and it's also why I don't feel like Omaha is like my home. Like I just live here because it feels like I don't have a place where I can like have community. It just feels like I'm a supporting actor in like my city, and I'm not like I don't get to have my own life because there's no like community that I feel like a part of, you know? I guess that's why I do stuff online too. This might be, I don't think this is oversharing. I feel like it does feel like a little bit of oversharing, but I'm trying to like leave a little bit of details. I'm trying to be better with that. That's why I keep mentioning it. Because I don't want to dox myself and I want to keep doing the things I'm doing, but I don't know. It's just, it doesn't feel like home because of that. It doesn't feel like I have people who are similar to me here. Maybe eventually I could find that, but I don't think I really ever will. And that's okay too. It's just disappointing. I have 2 more minutes. But yeah, it felt good. I think it feels good to talk about some of that stuff. I also know a lot of you guys have like traveled a lot. You've done lots of like multicultural things or whatever. So you probably get it, but I don't know. It's just being confined in a city where people aren't cool with that. It's like I'm trying to bring, or it's like I'm stuck in a role where I have to bring everyone up to speed with like, hey, like kind of being like a cultural translator for people. Like, hey, you can talk to those people, you can interact with them, and you can actually chill with them a lot more. And cool, it gives me like really awesome opportunities, like stuff I'm doing in the community all the time because I can kind of be like oh, hey, like let's bring everyone together. Let's do all that stuff. Like, that's great, but it's a good skill to have sometimes, but I don't know. It just doesn't make me feel like I have a place. And that's kind of a thing too. I don't know. I don't think it really ever gets better. I think it's just kind of like that wherever you go. It's like the monkey's fist, you know. You want that knowledge and you want to like learn, but when you do that, it takes away that ability to just like be identifiable in a certain aspect. Elle says that's why I eat at ethnic restaurants all the time in Phoenix. Such a huge melting pot here, different experiences every time. Yeah. It's super segregated here in Omaha, and most cities, or at least a lot of cities in Nebraska, are like that. Very, very segregated. Lincoln, Nebraska is like that too. All the Vietnamese people live in one area. All the black people live in one area. Um, like Middle Eastern people live in like one section or whatever. Hispanics live in one area. It's just more so than other places. It's really weird. Mm. And when I say more so, I'm talking about with the ratio of the size of the city. Also, hi, Elle. I have to go early. Oh. Elle says, I have Persian, Indian, Greek, Mexican, American, Vietnamese, Japanese, all within 30-minute drive. Also ethnic grocery stores. Hey, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Everything's like pretty concentrated in certain areas. Like part of that's like a class thing and a financial thing, but it's kind of wild. Like especially North Omaha versus South Omaha. Like if you want soul food or like stuff that actually has flavor or even like pancake houses and stuff like that that are really good, North Omaha is great. If you want really good authentic like Mexican food or Spanish food or anything that's like South American, you go to South Omaha. Um, like gyros and like lots of Persian food and African food. That'll be more like Central Omaha. And then downtown is like the very miscellaneous stuff. Like you have like sit down restaurants, bar culture, that sort of thing. But yeah, even like the ethnic grocery stores that we have are pretty concentrated to those areas. But it's really nice because you like know where to go for like certain things. It's like it's almost like having boroughs, but like Midwestern. Let's see. Elle says we also have ridiculous high-end places in Scottsdale. That's a vibe too. I like when I was in Phoenix, I didn't do a ton of like traveling, or going around. I just kind of hung out with my family. So I'm not super familiar with the area, but I do know quite a bit about it. My family loved Phoenix. That was like their favorite place they lived, or at least that's what they told me. I don't know. I don't know. It could change, but you never know. But yeah. I had some relatives that like lived in Texas for a bit, like my aunt did. And she loved Texas because of all the Spanish food. And she loved this was like 10, 15 years ago, before tons of people started moving to Houston and stuff. Elle says, I've been in a lot of big cities and this is my favorite so far. A lot of people say that about Phoenix. I like the big cities that I really enjoyed was like New York City. I would love to live there. It's just the small spaces that's hard for me. So I would really have to make a lot more money, or I would have to have like a very, very, like doing stuff online would be a little bit harder in New York. But I really like the privacy aspect of New York City. Like people don't care about who you are really and like what you do because they're very like self-focused and self-driven, and there's so many different communities and cultures you can be a part of, and I really like that. But I don't like the small kitchens because I like to cook sometimes. But if I could just eat out all the time, I think that'd be better actually. So like if the cost of living was better, I would love to live in New York. Like when I was younger, I wanted to live in New York City so bad. I just really like the privacy aspect of it. LA, it kind of feels like you have like a magnifying glass on you there, but I really liked LA. And I also really liked Honolulu. Those were my three favorite places. Elsa says New York is struggling right now with a lot of people moving out. Same with Cali. That's true. That's true. It's true. Yeah, it's hot for a couple months. Outside of that, it's great. Yeah, I like Phoenix. What it was very like I don't know. It looks cool and stuff, but I felt like I like the ocean aspect of the West Coast and like LA. I like San Francisco. San Francisco's okay. Pasadena's like cool too. But I don't know. I've been to LA a lot and I've been to San Francisco a lot. Seattle's okay. I've only been there a couple times though. And I was really only in the suburbs, and it feels like the Midwest but with mountains. So that's okay, I guess, but it wasn't my favorite. And it was very wet. I don't like it being wet all the time. It makes me sad. I do like it a bit, but not too much. Yeah. Have you ever lived in those places or no? I do have to go soon. I like have to go in like 2 minutes. Otherwise, I'd love to keep talking. I'm gonna be here tomorrow, just earlier. Elle says, well, here in Arizona, we don't know what water is all about. True. True. Don't I fucking know it? You get used to it too, the more that you're there. But when you first go, your body has to adjust. Like I don't know, my skin was really clear. Um, Never lived in Cali as an adult. I don't know. I've been there ever since I was a kid. I went there like as a teenager for my grandpa's work, and I stayed there with my family for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Like I really liked it, and I have lots of friends that live out there too. So I didn't get to hang out with all of them, but they're like, "You can move in here with us," and I was like, and now I'm stuck here for a little bit. Not really, but I want to finish my schooling out here. Flagstaff? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, more forestry trained. I do like that. I like the water. I really enjoy water. So that's why I like New York and like LA. It's just the water presence that makes me feel really happy. Because without the water, I feel very like claustrophobic and almost like the world is caving in on me all the time. I feel like I don't know, I just like the presence of the ocean. There's just something about it. It's like it's nice. It doesn't matter like the conditions around me. Like it can be super fucking hot or not like super cold, but you know, like pretty cold and like wet and I'll be okay with it as long as there's like water. You know? That's why living in Nebraska sucks. And I just feel like a supporting character here. I'm just like, yep. I don't feel like I belong here. uh, Me being emo. Elle says desert mountain hikes are great when it's not hot. True. Visibility is great and you can just see so much. I know. And it's really pretty. Like all of the dirt, how like it changes as you walk through different areas. That's so cool. I don't know. I just really like the desert area. Obviously Hawaii was my favorite. Like obviously it's my favorite. Living in a tropical climate like that, amazing. All my favorite plants there, amazing. But that's why I was like, Cali is better. Because LA is like a compromise. You get like a lot of that Hawaii weather, but I don't know. It's just, I always felt like I was being watched there. Not like in like a weird, like paranoid way. It just always felt like there was like a magnifying glass on me. And I don't know how to explain it. It was like a weird feeling that I got in LA, but that was the only thing that I didn't like about it. Like I still felt like I could do stuff and like I had like autonomy or whatever, but it's just it always felt like there was like a magnifying glass. I'm never and it's always felt like that when I go to LA. It was more so last time, but yeah. You can move to Lake Havasu. LOL, maybe. Probably not though. I would be okay with like moving to New York. It's even hotter there than Phoenix, yeah. I don't mind the heat though. I like my lizard time. I think I don't know, the actual places that I would really want to go might not be in the country. But here in the States, those are the places I really like. You might catch me moving there soon. Not at our first time, just white Mexican there. Yeah, I like the diversity. That's why I was like, because there's lots of really cool stuff. I like history, diversity, and stuff like that. So, like, I'm okay with living where I live now because there's a lot of immigrants that I can work with, and it's like, all right, I can make it work, and it's cheaper for schooling, but I know. But there's not really a lot of stuff that I like really want. If I could leave, I would. Take me away. But yeah, I kind of like saved up to leave, and that kind of got fucked over, and that's okay. I'll just be smarter about it next time. You learn from your lessons. No, thank you. And I basically did just move back for my family and stuff, which, oh my god, wow, that goes well for me. But yeah, I gotta go. Elle says, honestly, they're building so much in Phoenix, the housing market is going to crash in a couple of years, so you'd probably be able to get something cheap. Probably, I don't know. It's not really my thing. I went to Phoenix a couple times, and it's never really been a place that like calls to me, you know? It's like there's places that you just like kind of know that you're like gonna be there a lot, or it's gonna be like a place that's important, you know? And Phoenix hasn't really been that important to me. I do know people where it is really important for them, but yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm sorry I have to go, Elle. I'm sorry I have like a meeting. And I'm the one starting the Zoom, so otherwise I'd hang out here a little bit more, but I gave myself that responsibility because no one else knew how to start it. Where the fuck is my mouse? Later, yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be here a little bit earlier tomorrow, just because I have stuff going on in the evening. So sleep well, stay safe, stay alive, and toots!